other things going on. Some of you guys are managers. You might not do as many appointments as you do during the summer. You know, obviously our full-timers work full-time, but I would say at least 70% of our workforce is working more of a part-time schedule during the school year. You know, so for many people, it's just 5, 7, or 10 demos a week, and that's it. That's their number. And then when I was in college, my number was 7 a week, which, by the way, in the summertime, I used to do 5 to 7 a day, at least 4 days a week. You know, so it was very different when I was in school because there were a lot of things going on. And so I think especially when you're working part-time, but this is important anytime that you are really maximizing every demo that you have, you know. And so how do you maximize every demo that you have? And by the way, if you can't see, you're welcome to move your chairs on the side here. You're welcome to stand. Like, you can go wherever you want. All right. So no problem. I'm going to be focused right here. But for you guys, you know, I think about not just sharing goals. Some of you guys, and I've heard several of you guys do a good job sharing goals. I watched Billy last week share his goals, and he had great goals. I wrote them all down. You know, I watched Allie 2 weeks ago share her goals, and she had great stuff. But there's a difference with, one, enrolling customers into your goals where they're just like, wow, and they want to be a part of it, okay? And 2, also being able to connect. How does this job have anything to do with your long-time goals? Got it? Because for the customer, you might be like, yeah, I want to be an engineer, and I want to do this, and I want to help the world. And in their head, what could they be thinking? Then why are you selling knives? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it's important that your customer understands how this is helping you hit your long-term goals. You guys with me? And I think this is important. I don't even know if Jordan's heard a workshop like this. I don't know if Spencer, because this was something that I was very privileged to be taught by my manager. And for those who don't know, the reason I've succeeded at the level I have is I come from a pretty kick-ass lineage. And the guy who interviewed and trained me ran the pilot office for the state of Florida through college. He went to the University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School of Business, #1 business school in the nation. And he was the pilot manager, what Roman is right now, to Scott Dennis. Scott Dennis is the regional sales director now in the Eastern region, who for years has worked directly with the vice president of our company, Amar, who used to run our region back when I was a rep, who, by the way, works directly with the presidents of our company and our CEO. So basically, guys who own shop work with the president and the VP of sales, the region managers, the guy who trained me. We have a direct lineage to the top. So I was very blessed to be brought up in that family and to learn a lot of skill sets that were definitely the best of the best practices. And so that helped me at a young age in my career be able to really identify what the right habits were, and then solidify them into my actual business and into my presentation to be able to create great results. And it was pretty awesome. And so the #1 thing that I learned is when you can really enroll customers into what you're doing, and they're like, wow, and they're like, they want to be a part of that journey because they see like why you're doing it. They see how the dots all connect, and they're blown away by that. When you can tie customers into that, it impacts your sales, all right? Because you have people that maybe we're going to buy later. They're thinking like, maybe I'll get something later, but they're like, I want to see what I can get now because I want to help this person towards their goals. Like, I'm going to see what I need now. Maybe they have a gift they could buy. Maybe they need something for themselves, whatever it is. Even if they bought a set of knives last week, they're trying to see what they could do. Even if they bought an ultimate of Cutco from Jonathan Schmitz at the mall, they're like, I have to buy something else from this kid because I'm so wowed by them. All right. So it helps your sales people that might not have been planning on getting stuff, get stuff now. Okay. It helps your sales get bigger. Maybe they are buying now, and there's stuff that they're like, oh, this would be great for mom for Mother's Day, that gardening set. This would be great for my brother for Father's Day, that hunting and fishing knife combo and engrave it. This would be great, but they were going to wait till May or June or, to buy. But when you enroll them, if they can, they're like, you know what? I'm going to get it now to help this kid with his goal that he's working towards, right? So people will get more stuff now that they were going to wait on till later if they're really tied into you. And the third thing is that it impacts your recommendations big time, okay? Because when it comes to recommendations, people are always thinking of people that will buy, okay? Period. But when you can really enroll them into what you're doing and really establish a connection, they want to help you out. They actually listen when you tell them like, hey, Who do you know who won't buy, but they're super sweet like you? You help me so much get one step closer to my goal. And my goal is to make sure I'm completing 10 appointments a week, no matter what, in order to stay on track. Who do you know who's super nice like you? And if they're tied into you and they're tied into what you're doing, that's how you're going to get a lot more recommendations on your demos. And your goal is to be averaging 20 plus recommendations per appointment as a top person. You know, as a newer rep, can you be averaging 10 plus, you know, getting a sponsor at least every time, or averaging a sponsor? Because you might have someone who just gives you 5 to 7, or maybe you have someone who gives you 2 or 3, but then you have that person who gives you 20 or 30 also. You know, so can you be averaging that? Is really important. And it really comes back to how you do this. So I met with Billy for 2 hours this past Wednesday to do this with him. This is, by the way, one of the best practices I have for developing top quality reps. I have helped develop and train multiple national champions, several Rookie of the Years that won the Silver Cup. I had 2 Rookie of the Years. And then I had other reps in their respective fields and branches go out and win national titles. And this was a big factor in every year. And I think about even Taylor. Some of you guys have been in our office these past year or 2 years, and you know Taylor St. Laurent. She won a scholarship this past summer. Summer prior, it was the first time that she was selling with me, right? So I moved here in 2015, and in 2015, she was doing an entrepreneurship internship. She came back in 2016, and I had her training her as a recruiting manager. She was studying hospitality management, or wanted to possibly help run hotels. Talked to her uncle. I said, hey, I think it'd be good for you to learn how to be a great recruiter, how to meet with different people and pitch an idea. Because if you're doing what she was going to do, you need to have those skill sets. And that summer, when we got to July, she's like, I really want to go out and sell. By the way, Taylor hadn't even sold $40,000, or excuse me, she hadn't even sold $20,000 in her career at that time. And by the way, when she went out and did this, and we sat down and worked on our goals, that push period, she sold almost $40,000 in a 2-week period, 2.5 weeks, okay? And then she came back last summer, and even though she had seen all that success and she kicked butt the summer before, first she said, can you help me with my goals? We spent an hour on that as we went into the summer to get her ready to roll again. And she went after some big pushes this year as well, and was a top, you know, All-American scholarship winner again. But this is a practice, and I had told her, I said, the number one thing when I'm working with reps, because I'll go 10K, 20K, 30K, 50K, 100K, 150, 200K. It's usually when I meet with reps to look at this, I'm always looking to see the beginning, how they share goals. I'm always looking to see how they transition to showing their sets, if they do packages, bundle, whatever they do. I want to see how they're closing and asking for the order, and I want to see how they're asking for reps. Those are my skills checks when I'm like testing a rep of what I want to look at. So for any managers, existing managers or managers that are going to open, that's what I look at. How do they share goals? How do they transition to showing the sets? How do they close? And how do they ask for recs? All right. If our people can get great at those things, they're going to have a really powerful business. So as I mentioned, I met with Billy last week. We spent 2 hours. I did not plan on spending 2 hours on this, but Billy's got some really big goals for sales for the spring, and there, you know, I wanted to see what was happening in this demo, and we dove into this. So I actually have not seen him do it again since we met. So I asked him to actually do his out loud since we met last Wednesday, so I could see it. I'm going to give him feedback, and then I'm going to do it as if I were him, so you guys can see how I would share my goals. Cool? So you guys can see what that looks like. You can go ahead and and do it. And then afterwards, I actually would like to debrief too what you took from last week and what you feel helped you after you actually do it live. So I'm gonna be his customer. So we just walked in, we sat at the table. Yeah, awesome. So glad you made it safe to the house.
Hey, Kathy, I appreciate you having me over. I know there's so many other things that you could be doing today. I know you weren't just sitting around jumping up for joy, waiting for the knife guy to come by. But I do want to say thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And by the way, how do you know Susie?
Oh, we actually, our kids played soccer together, and so I met her through the like little league, I guess, you know, like their team.
Okay, how many kids do you have?
3.
Okay, how old are they?
They are 10 years old right now. We have a 5-year-old, and then we have a 2-year-old.
Oh, so you're busy.
Yeah, they keep us busy, that's for sure.
I can only imagine. You got your hands full. So what do you do for a living?
I actually work in sales.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're going to give me feedback, right?
Yeah.
Just kidding. How long have you been doing that?
I have been doing that for 16 years now.
Okay. What about your husband?
We work together.
Okay.
He works in sales too.
Is he at work right now? Is that why he can't be here?
Yeah, he's out making that money.
Well, that's good. Well, anyways, before we get into it, do you mind if I share some of the reasons I'm working so hard?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So before we actually get into that, a little bit about myself. These right here are some pictures of just me throughout the years. This right here is my family. Growing up, I was actually an athlete. I played football for 12 years. I actually was going to Arizona State on a full ride rugby scholarship. I decided to turn down. And then this right here is kind of like my little vision board. One of my favorite things about the company is they always are trying to help us look towards our future. So they told us to put together this little vision board and kind of help us visualize our goals. And the reason I put these pictures, because every time I see them, I just get super excited. And actually, whenever I first got into the company, my biggest goal was to actually win a scholarship. I was paying for my own school, and I was fortunate enough to go out and work super hard over the summer, earn myself a scholarship. I also, thanks. My dream job is actually to be a sports agent. So I have a little Jerry Maguire picture there, great movie. And then I also really love going to music festivals. And one of my goals with that is actually to create my own music festival. The way that music brings people together is something that has always really excited me and really just sparked an interest in me. And I think the best weapon in the world, it can bring people together. And just everyone puts their differences aside when it comes to music. Along with that, one of the reasons I really enjoy working with Kecker is they actually give me the freedom and the flexibility to go travel. And because of that, I put together a group of people that actually travel the country, going to music festivals and actually promoting safe partying and partying responsibly and whatnot. And also educating people on mental health issues. And that's actually like my biggest goal in life, is to spread awareness on mental health and also provide value in other people's lives. And I feel like this company has really given me a platform to do so.
Nice.
And with that, I'm actually writing a book that's kind of going to go along those lines of just providing value and all the things I've learned through Cutco. And so these are just some more pictures of me having fun with the company. We actually get to travel a bunch. I just got back from New York. We went and saw Niagara Falls, which was phenomenal. If you don't like the cold weather, I wouldn't go up there in November. But
yeah, it's pretty cool up there.
But it was a lot of fun. And then, so this right here is actually the scholarship that I won. I'm actually going out and trying to earn myself another one right now. I was number 36 in the nation out of about 20,000. It was
awesome. Congrats.
I appreciate it. It was a lot of hard work, but the amount of personal growth that came along with it was second to none. And this right here is actually, I just got back from the Oscars at Cutco. There was a big banquet, and I actually got promoted to district manager. And I'm actually going out and opening my own office here in May. And so this spring, I put together my goals, and I decided that I was going to go big. I'm going for 53 grand this spring for several reasons. One, I want to make it to the $100,000 career sales mile marker. Not very many people do it, and it's just a huge thing for me. I really want to show myself how hard I can work. And so what you could do is you could just cut me a check for 53 grand right now. I'll definitely hit my goals then.
Right.
I'm just kidding. 10 grand is a good start.
One of those.
We can just start with a small check of 10 grand. But either way, I'm super excited to go out and work this hard. I have about 8 weeks to do it. It's not going to be easy, but I know that with the group of people I have around me, the coaching that I have, and the drive that I have within myself, I'm fully committed to it, and I have a good shot of actually going out and getting it. And even if I don't, I mean, it's a huge goal. It's a scary goal, but even if I don't, I know at the end of the day, I laid it all out onto the field, and I'll be really excited and really happy with myself for the amount of work that I put into it. And so we go into this, like I said, on the phone, you don't have to get anything, but I would love for you to just kind of have open eyes in case there's anything you gotta get for gifts or anything like that. Not only would you be getting a hell of a product, but you'd also be helping me out so much with my goals. This right here is actually a free way you can help. I'll show you at the end.
I like free.
Everyone likes free, but don't worry. We can't ruin the ending yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
This right here is actually my manager's fitness and nutrition company. She put together, and it kind of goes along with the whole providing value in people's lives. I think it's a really good choice to go live a healthier lifestyle as far as the food you intake. And this is an all natural, like chemical-free, plant-based company. All about elevating your energy, whether it be physical, mental, all kinds of different things. And if you're interested in that, I can give you more information on that at the end. And then two of the reasons my goal for the spring is so large is, one, I want to put aside enough money to actually have finances to kind of fall back on, because everyone knows a business doesn't profit right off the bat. So I want to have some money to fall back on. And also, this right here is a fundraiser that I put together. It's called the Dravet Syndrome Foundation. Are you familiar with Dravet?
I'm not.
Okay, no worries. Basically what it is, a really rare form of epilepsy where instead of seizures lasting up to 15 minutes, they last upwards of 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's terrible. And I met a family this summer. I just kind of fell in love with them because of the positive attitude they had, and just the vibe that they gave me was incredible. And I went over to do an appointment just like this, and ended up helping them put together a bake sale that raised over $1,000.
Nice.
So this is actually a picture of me with them. But the daughter was just the cutest thing, and she just seemed like she was so happy all the time. And I just felt like this was my calling to help. So another reason I'm going for such a large goal is I want to actually give them a check for $5,000 to help fund research into the condition, just to give back to them, and just a way to give back to the world. So as we go through the book, we're going to window shop. Cool. So we're going to pretend everything's free, and we're just going to jot down anything that you see that you could use, anything that you like, anything that you or anyone you love or even like. Maybe you don't even like them, but if you think they could use it, we're going to go ahead and jot it down. At the end, I'll show you how to get some of it for free. Cool?
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. So I would say definitely big improvement from last week. Still areas of opportunity. And so I'm going to break this down so you guys can see, because you guys didn't watch last week, but if you can debrief for them real quick, what are the things that we talked about? So I will say this, much better, definitely just tying things to like how it benefits you. Like when you talked about why I love, when you were sharing your goals with me, why I love working with Cutco is the freedom to travel. I love music festivals, getting a chance to go to them. We started this group of people, Great job connecting that. By the way, last week that wasn't connected. It was like, I love festivals, but it was just like, cool, but it didn't connect with like, so why are you doing this, right? So learning how to like tie those things together is really important. So we'll go through that. So definitely great job tying that in there in the beginning. In the beginning though, I felt I know last week it was a different, when we spoke, it was the, so tell me about you or whatever. I was like, ask questions. But even the questions, you were like, I felt like I was being drilled. They were too quick. It was like, so I did. And how many kids? I was like, oh my God, like you're like drilling them. Like that's not comfortable either. Okay. So it's like laid back. It's like, oh, so like, how long have you known her? Oh, that's awesome. And oh, do you have kids too? Oh, how many? And just like, even if you just slow down those same questions, but it was just like, you were ready to fire the next question right away. And it felt like you were like that. I was like, man. So it can't feel like they're being drilled. So I just put be slower. Let's see here. You're still doing something that I want you to get rid of, and you don't realize you do it because it's like ingrained in your brain. And I'll tell you that in a second. After you debrief a couple of things that you feel good, but things that I also, the 100K prestigious goal, group of people with drive, getting it done together, great, giving back. And so I'm going to show you what it should look like. I'm going to do it back for you here in a second. What are things you can tell the group that were different from last week when you first showed me and after we talked about stuff? What are some of the things that you realized, some of the changes that you made?
Okay, so the first thing that I noticed was, like she said, not connecting it back to Cutco and why I'm doing this now. And I noticed a decline in my sales this past few weeks. And then after I did this and connected it, I dropped $3,500 in a week.
By the way, his next 3 sales were over $1,000 after we did this.
And he had been like having no sales and not doing well. And then it was like, boom, over $1,000, boom, over $1,000, boom, over $1,000, sold $3,500. It makes a really big difference in how customers are connected. And even, wasn't there one that she was like, oh my gosh, I have to get something, or she told you she wasn't going to get something, right? Well, what did
yeah, on a virtual, lady tells me, yeah, I'm not really interested in knives. I don't cook. It's like, no worries. I told you over the phone, you don't have to get anything. I share my goals, and she was like, okay, I'm listening. Let's see what you have. And then about halfway through the homemaker, she goes, I don't know if you realize, but you have a sale. So what am I getting?
And she bought a homemaker set, you know? And so this was someone who was like, yeah, I'm not getting anything, whatever. And so, but when they're really tied into you, it opens them up for possibilities. Cool. Something you're still doing, you're still saying remove all negative words. What negative words? I was turned down. I don't even know what it had to do with, but all I heard was turned down. Or you turned down rugby. So you're saying you turned it down. Just like remove all words. Like anything having to do with any negative connotation of any kind, even though it's like a positive, set you on a good journey, just like get rid of those words. This is more of a psychology thing. You don't want them thinking any negative anything. Because even if I zoned out with my kid falling over and I was like, oh my God, shit, I gotta pick up my kid. All I heard was turned down. Who was turned down? What was turned down? Like what's down? What's negative, right? So you gotta remember that your brain only like hears certain things. So just remove any negative words, because sometimes they hear it out of context, and all they hear is a negative thing. Okay, so this is more advanced, but this is psychology. Then you said, even if I don't hit it again, I wouldn't even talk about that. Just say, I'm just really excited for the journey and the process of growing, you know, through this and growing with great people. That's it. Like you're making the same point of like, you're excited to grow. You could say, regardless of the outcome, I'm just so excited for growth with this great group of people, learning new skill sets and opening new doors, you know? And so that's how I would like phrase that more versus like, even if I don't hit my goal, I would say, regardless of the outcome, I'm so excited to just like learn and grow and develop my skill set. So I don't know if you guys caught that, but it's a little thing where there's another negative thing. Most businesses don't make money right away. Again, like it doesn't make money, like it's something negative versus, you know, starting up a company. Obviously there's a lot of money going out. And so I just want to make sure I set myself up for success as I'm building the organization and it gets to a great place. So everything's positive, right? I'm setting myself up. I'm building until it gets to a great place. All the things I said were positive. By the way, were we saying the same thing? Like the concept was the same, but how you say it just makes a difference psychologically. All right. So again, what I'm teaching you guys right now is very advanced, but it's also very simple, you know, but understanding your words matter. Everything you say matters. It creates a certain energy field. It creates a focus on a negative or a positive by how you talk about things. So that's really important, okay? And I'm gonna do it back. I'm gonna pretend to be him, all right? I'm gonna do my best to be Billy. So obviously you're gonna be you. And you guys can look at the book and see, because I reset up his book. His book, it was all chopped up in totally different orders. But here we roll. I'm Billy Latil, all right? William Latil. Here we go, all right? We walked in, we sat down, I'm like chatting with them, like, so by the way, how long have you guys lived here? How long have you guys been in the neighborhood?
10 years.
Oh, cool. And by the way, Julie, she told me you guys were like awesome and that Kelly plays soccer or she knew you from work, but she didn't really tell me much more. Are you guys natives of Houston? Like I said, you've been here 10 years, but were you like born and raised here? So true Houstonian, huh? Mm-hmm. Nice. And then I know she had told me that your daughter and her son played on the soccer team. Do you have any other kids?
Yeah, actually I have 2 others.
So they keep you busy, huh?
Oh, so busy.
Are they younger or older?
Actually, the one that plays soccer with their kids is actually the middle. So I've got one older, one younger, all 4 years apart.
That's fun. I'm actually the oldest of 4, so I love big families. So I always wanted lots of kids, even though it's a little chaotic at times. It's actually fun when they're older, because now, like when I was younger, my siblings and I would fight all the time. But now, like I love it. I love getting together with them and like doing family trips, and we're like all adults now, you know, and it's really cool. So super stoked about that. And did she get a chance to give you like any background on like me, what I'm doing, what I'm working towards? Did she get to tell you anything about that?
All she told me is that you were great, you were super sweet, and you were working super hard.
Thanks. All right, cool. Well, I know she's crazy with the kids. So, well, just so you know, a little background on me. I went to high school here at Stratford, graduated from there. Then I was going over to Texas State, going to school there and taking classes, and decided to take a little bit of time off. I'm actually paying for all my school myself. So just saving up to eventually go back, finish my degree. Ultimately my dream job is to be a sports announcer. I really wanted to get some great experience, interacting with people, communicating with different types of personalities, learning how to sell myself, learning how to sell ideas, networking. And so this job is so awesome because it does all of that, which I'll share some stuff with you. But currently just working hard with the company. I've actually met some pretty incredible people. So many cool things working here. This is actually my first little mini vision board, and if it's not, this is my work vision board. I've never had a job that had me encouraged me to make a vision board. Have you heard of vision boards before?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I've made one myself.
Nice. So I've never had a job that told us make a vision board, but it's been so cool because I put here my dream job, my dream car, just different things, traveling, out to travel. And our manager really encourages us to do this to really keep us focused on our goals. And it's such a cool practice that probably more companies should have. But these are places that I want to go, things I want to do. I love festivals, and a cool thing I love about working with Cutco as well is the chance, the freedom. Really, they provide the means, the time, and the money to be able to do a lot of the cool things I like to do. So getting a chance to go out and about. I love music festivals. I love what music does for people. I love how it brings people together. And we actually, some buddies of mine, we actually started a club that does it, keeps people safe, and I don't know, a whole explanation. So it's really cool. But this job allows me to be able to do that. And I actually found out about this job from my buddy who's into music festivals as well. And so we met in that community, and he had been telling me for several years, come do this job for over 2 years. I'm like, I don't know about selling knives, but I had no idea all the things that Cutco provided, all the opportunities that were there, and I'm so glad that I came in. So these are actually some of the friends I've made in the process. They really have become more like family, and it's so neat because I've always had pretty good friends, growing up, and even with the music festival, some great people, but I've never been surrounded by so many people who are up to big things. I've never been surrounded by so many people who encourage and support each other towards being better, constantly being better. In the past, I always had people who were be realistic, or I don't know, just kind of brought me down when I was thinking big about something, where these people, they're incredible. And they're like, how can you think bigger? How can it be better? And they're just always pushing me to that next level. We actually had a chance this past November to go to the factory. So this is actually at the factory in New York. And my boss is actually one of the top managers in our company. She knows the CEO, the owner, one of the 5 original founders, who started Cutco and Vector. They had bought out an old aluminum company, and he's one of the 5 original founders, so in the 70s. And it's so neat because he actually, when they got it, they designed it, and they started a student program in the 80s to allow young people like myself to be able to get great experience and have great opportunities with unlimited income based on our work effort versus our experience, right? Because a lot of young people don't have a lot of experience, and in other jobs, you have to have years in the job, experience, and move up this ladder, where they were like, we want a chance for people to be able to earn based on their attitude and their work ethic. And that's what they did. And it's actually been used in the school since the early 80s. Actually, one of the professors at UT, he's been on the Cutco board since 1988. And he's the president over at research. Yeah, Dr. Peterson. I'll show you a picture. It was pretty cool. So I actually had a chance to meet Mr. Stitt when we were up there. So that was really cool. And it's just neat because our company's so close, like a family, So it's a $250 million a year company, but yet they're so close. So these are the scholarships. And when I called you, this is what I was telling you that I've been working on. So my buddy, Alex, who had worked here, 3 scholarships he actually won for Lone Star, working with the company here in Houston. And now he moved to Denver, and he's working out with Cutco in Denver. And I'm so glad I finally listened to him and came in. This past summer, I was actually able to win a scholarship too, chasing after him. And I was number 36 in the nation. So really excited about that, out of about 20,000 people. And what that did is it gave me an opportunity to stand out and earn a management internship this past fall. And so this past fall, I got a chance to work with the company and really learn a different realm of business, and really coaching others, teaching people, mentoring, learning recruitment, marketing, advertising, and really great skill sets, which will serve me for my future, because those are direct things that I'd be doing, in my dream job. So getting a chance to really put that into action. And through those successes and all the amazing people like you who've helped me on my journey, I was able to actually earn a management position with our company, which is a 1 year. But if I excel at the level I want to, as long as I show them that I can perform as a manager as I did as a rep, it's something that I have an option to continue doing for years to come. But this past January, we had the Oscars of Cutco a couple weeks ago, and I was actually promoted to district manager. So this summer, I will be running an office over in Katy for the next year. And my prayer is that everything lines up. I meet incredible people like this, and my journey keeps going, because honestly, at this point, I don't know why I would leave the company for now. I absolutely love it. I love the people I'm with. I'm learning. I'm earning great income. I'll be able to finish up my degree, with the money I earned here simultaneously, and then kind of figure out next steps. But who knows? I could be here for a long time. So this was this past year, and oh look, there's Miss Kimberly. I think you guys, she's on the soccer team too, right? So these were all the people last summer. I always keep a record of every appointment that I'm doing, and my sales goals. My goal before I open my office is to hit $100,000 in sales. It's a super prestigious goal for our company. Very small percent of people do that within their first year on the job. And I want to be in that elite group of people that got that done. Currently 49,277 away. So if you want to just write me a check for $49,277, that would be awesome.
Yeah, of course.
All right, we could start with like 10 grand. Yeah, that's good too. All
Can I
right.
sell one of the kids?
Oh, absolutely. No, but just so like I said on the phone, you don't have to get anything, but keep a lookout, because if there are things you might want for birthdays, weddings, Mother's Day, Father's Day, anything coming up in the next 6 to 12 months, not only are you going to get a heck of a product that they're going to love, I'm going to make sure you get the best deal possible. And it's also helping me out on my journey to hitting this goal by April. So this is my April goal. So as long as I complete 100 appointments, I will get that done. So thank you again so much for being one of those. I'll have you sign here later. Cool. And this, at the end, I also have an opportunity, if there are things that you do like, for you to get some free stuff. So I am collecting products or supplies for my office right now. So anyone who purchases, I'm doing deals, discounts, free stuff, if they're willing to do a little bartering. So if you have some old tables, chairs, decorations sitting in the garage that you might not be using anymore, and you are down to donate that to a new entrepreneur, a new business owner, that would be awesome. Obviously starting up a business, a lot of money's going out. I want to set myself up for success in a big way. Try to get a lot of my stuff with bartering or donations as much as possible, and really make sure I save up so that I can really focus on driving our business and pouring into the young people I'm going to work with versus stressing about any finances. So really excited about this. And this is a free way to help. So everybody can do this. And there's Amy, there's Kimberly from the soccer team, there's Kelly, and these are a bunch of people that have sponsored me. And I'll show you how you can become a sponsor later. That has nothing to do with sales. Sounds good? And last couple things here before I show you the products. This is actually my mentor in Cutco and our division manager for Cutco. She's actually co-founder of this company, Elevated Fitness and Nutrition. And something that she does with us, like in the summertime, we have different workshops, and a lot of what Cutco teaches, even though we're like showing knives and selling knives, a lot of it's life skills. It's learning time management, organization, presentation skills. It's learning skill sets on, how to sell yourself, ideas, presentations. It's learning how to deal with projection, right? And so we learn all this as we're going through, but a big thing of hers is showing us how to keep our energy at a high level to help us perform at the highest level. And that goes with even when we experience rejection, right? Energy goes down because you're like upset or frustrated, with a result. And teaching us how to really separate ourselves from those things, and not just physically, but mental energy, emotional energy, spiritual energy. So she talks a lot about that with us in Cutco, but she also has a company, and she has a group that anybody can join, and they do free lessons and tips with overall health and wellness. So if that's something that you'd be excited about checking out, I can definitely give you the group link. It's awesome. She's amazing, and you'll see, where we get a lot of our coaching from. It's pretty cool. This is a big driver for me, being able to give back. I love that Cutco, again, encourages so much to work on our skills for life. Really gives us a great foundation and a platform for internships, opportunities at a young age, and encourage us to really think bigger and visualize, but also to give back. And so companies really big on contribution on every level of the business, from corporate regionally, divisionally. We give back to an organization. We helped build a hospital in Haiti. Actually, my boss's husband will be there at the end of March, helping with setting everything like for Go Green, like solar power and everything that they're going to be doing over there.
Cool.
We have some of the guys from our region that are going to be going to Haiti. There was I think 8 of them that went last January when they did the grand opening. So we're real big on that. There's a foundation called Front Row Foundation they give back to. And then me personally, this is something that's very dear to my heart. Have you heard of Tourette syndrome? I'm going to talk about all that. So my goal is to, by the way, 10% of everything that I earn, I'm giving away. And my goal is to earn enough to be able to give $5,000 to them to help with research and further discoveries with that on how to make that better. And this is actually what I was telling you with the hospital. That our division is working for. So that's a little bit about me and what I'm working towards. So know that by helping me today and doing a demo, your help is going to a lot of bigger things, and I'm excited. I always tell my customers, I'm like, you're on a journey with me. It wasn't just a random, quick appointment to show you some knives, even though I am going to do that and they're pretty awesome. But by helping me, it's something that's contributing to a lot of things too. So I appreciate your time and I appreciate you pausing, crazy life of being a mom, to take time with me here. So I'm going to take this out. This is something I like to do with all my customers as we go through. As I show you all the products, I always like to do a little window shopping. So right now everything's free and we'll jot down as I show you things that you like. There's stuff here on the back. So whether it's for now or for later, at the end I can get you prices on everything. But for now it's free. But let me tell you about Cutco. So you've never seen Cutco before?
No, but actually I was telling my wife I wanted a good set of knives for Valentine's Day. So.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah, as I'm showing, we have stuff for whether it's birthday, Mother's Day, weddings, like all these different holidays. So keep thinking about that because, again, if there are things that you might need for things coming up, we have got incredible options. So this right here, and then we dive in, all right? So I want to go over a couple things here with you guys. By the way, I spend 10 to 15 minutes always connecting and building rapport. By the way, that sometimes my demo lasts as long as that. Like my demo, I can do it in 10 minutes, the rest of it. Right now, they're like, all right, I'm in. Let's see what you got, and they're super tied in. And then now it's quick because it's like, look at the products. This stuff's crap. This is why Cutco's so stinking good. And oh yeah, it's guaranteed forever, And then, hey, here are our sets. We have our small set, medium, and our complete set. Which one do you feel is best for you? Cool. Have you looked at prices recently? It's like anything else. There's a wide range of quality and prices, and we go into closing and then we find what's best for them. All right. And so that process will take 10 to 15 minutes sometimes. Sometimes it takes 20, 25 minutes, but it shouldn't take more than that. What takes the longest time for me or what I want to spend the most is 10 to 15 minutes talking to them, sharing my goals, why I'm doing what I'm doing and how it benefits my future. Connecting all those dots of how Cutco's helping get me there. So first, wowing them with what I'm doing, but then showing them how everything Cutco offers helps get me there quicker, how it all ties in together. And then I'm like, all right, cool. So let me show you. I'm like, so have you seen this stuff before? I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. And now we dive into the products and I'm like, check this out. And now it's like, boom, boom, boom. All right. So I want to open up real quick to you guys. What are the things you notice? Why do you feel going through that process? What do you feel different? Maybe there's things you don't do, like, oh, I don't do this, or I don't do that, or I really like this. So what are things that stood out that maybe you don't do, that you're like, I'm going to incorporate this into here? What are any ahas, any takeaways, and then any questions as you're going through that process? So I want to open it up. No.
Well, when I share goals, it's not, I tell them obviously like what I'm working towards and everything, but it's not like, it's just kind of like quick. It's not like I'm tying anything. I'm not connecting anything, and it's kind of just like random facts. It's like, oh, let me tell you some random facts about me, rather than like actually.
By the way, Noah, that's almost everybody.
Yeah.
That was when I watched Ali Tuizu. That was Billy last week, by the way, and he still tied some stuff, but it was a lot of just like facts that weren't all like tied in together. And he's been here and he's been a top seller, but it's not something you're ever going to naturally do until someone really shows you how to do that.
Right.
I didn't do that until someone coached me on how to do that. None of our top guys, like a lot of our top guys still don't know how to do that. I've coached people at 200-something thousand in sales and they're like, oh my God, no one ever showed me this. It's nothing that someone wakes up and like just does naturally. It's something that has to be taught, that you have to actually learn how to do. So yeah, great, feedback, because that is most people. All right. Other things, takeaways, things you noticed.
I would say mine is like, I do a pretty decent job. I feel like actually connecting and doing things like that because I talk mostly about like my family and how I want to get back to them and how much it is to do all that and stuff. I feel like I just don't have enough stuff in there. Like how
I don't know that he has a lot of stuff. You don't have to have a lot of stuff. Is my book somewhere? Have you guys seen my book?
It's over there somewhere.
It's over, oh, I see it.
The very
I see
bottom
it.
one, I think.
No, it's down here. Boom. 16 years old, baby. All right. You don't need to have a ton of stuff. I didn't have my vision board stuff in here, but you can, and even if you don't have that, these are the things that are the non-negotiables for me. All right. These were my non-negotiables. My non-negotiables were a scholarship brochure, okay, to talk about how they benefit students, whether you're a student or not. Even when I graduated, I wanted them to know like how this company helps young people, all right? Because that's where people are like, oh, wow. A lot of people I've seen that even own Cutco didn't even really know about the student program, because even some new people are like, oh, so I'm working with Cutco to help me with this. Let me show you Cutco, right? And they don't really take much time to do this. So I'll give you more, Jay, and mine was pretty quick. I was just like chatting with them and like, oh, so did Julie tell you anything about like what I'm actually doing or why I'm doing it? That's how I transitioned, by the way. Did so-and-so tell you like anything about me, what I'm doing, or why I'm doing it, okay? And if they told me they never talked to them, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, so quick little about me so you know who the heck you're helping. And I'd say that to them. I'm like, just a little about me so you know who the heck you're helping now. I'm actually a student at Palm Beach Atlantic University. I'm studying international business. My goal is to run stuff. I'm like, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do, but I know I want to own businesses. I know I want to impact people. I know that I want to be able to influence and do a lot with nonprofits. I'm really big into that. So I'm not really sure exactly what I want to do, but what I love about this company is that it's given me an opportunity to network and connect with so many different types of people, you know, and get a chance to meet people. And it's also giving me a chance to learn skill sets that I'm going to use regardless of what I do, because I'm going to need to know how to sell my ideas myself, raise funds, how to manage teams, how to lead others. And so those are things that I get to learn with this business. What's cool too, they offer money for school. And so that's really awesome. So this is my scholarship that I called you about that I'm working on every semester. I mean, they give $20,000 a year in scholarships to students. And so my goal is to take as much of that scholarship money as possible. So working really hard. When I was brand new my first summer, I had a picture of me taped to the front of that brochure, by the way. It's a great thing to have. And then actually my first time I had it taped onto here. And then if not, tape it to the front, just tape a picture of yourself there, okay? And I was like, that's me, you know, winning #1, and like cross off with a marker and put your name really big. So it's like obnoxiously, they know like, obviously you did that, but it makes them laugh. And I was like, oh yeah, that's me winning #1. And they're like, oh really? I'm like, not yet, but I'm gonna get there. I'm like, thank you for helping me get one step closer. And they're like, of course, honey. But guys, if you're making them laugh, if they're smiling with you, they're laughing with you, that's a really positive thing, okay? So I would say that. I'm like, yeah, that's me winning #1. I'm like, not yet, but you're helping me get closer. And then later when I won one, I was like, oh, that's me, number 19, my first summer, you know, and showing them that. And then I'd share them like, so this is really cool. So they have the scholarships paid for school, but what's really neat, a lot of people don't know this, like people that know Cutco don't know this, Ms. Jones, is that Cutco actually works with the schools. This is incorporated into the classes at Purdue University, at Illinois State, at NC State, at Boston College, at Babson College, at UT. Like it is part of the curriculum. Students can earn college credit. My friend earned 4 credit hours at Penn State last summer. My boss earned 8 credit hours at Palm Beach Atlantic. Spencer, my other boss, they're married. They own the office. He earned 3 credit hours when he was in school, and a lot of other people. And so, and the reason is that they teach you real life skills. They teach us how to network. They teach us how to connect with people. They teach us how to manage our time. They teach us how to set appointments. They teach us how to, you know, deal with rejection. And they also have management internships. They have entrepreneurship internships. So like there is so much to learn. And because this company teaches all those things, that's why they've been used in the schools. And guys, my customers were always like, wow, I had no idea that I literally got that 90% of the time, okay? And I was like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm like, I just thought it was like a random knife company, but it's a lot more than that. We just happen to show some really cool knives, but it's a really big student program. So my goal this semester is to complete 150 appointments, cool. And so that breaks down to 10 a week is my goal throughout the spring at school. So thank you for helping me get one step closer. If I complete that, I will hit my goal of winning a scholarship, a top 10 All-American scholarship. So we'll sign stuff later. You at least get to put your name on here, all right? So excited. Right now I have this current contest. We have a competition we're all going through, and I'd share that. And I'm like, so those are, and this was one thing you didn't say, I said, so those contests, the scholarship and all that, those are based on sales. So definitely keep a lookout, because if you do see something you like, for gifts, for weddings, for birthdays, for Mother's Day, Father's Day, 4th of July, whatever the heck you want to give gifts for, anything that you need to buy gifts for the next 6 to 12 months that you'd be willing to get now versus later, that would be awesome. I'm going to make sure that you get a heck of a deal. It's helping me out. You're getting a killer product, and it helps me out a ton for my goals. All right. So again, like I said, I'm not pulling you up to get anything, but keep a lookout, because if you do see something, I'm going to make sure you get the best hookup. Sounds good? And then this has nothing to do with sales. This is my sponsorship. This is based on just introducing me to nice people, just like Julie introduced me to you. Cool? So I'll show you at the end how you can be a sponsor too. Really, really appreciate your time and helping me out today. And last thing, giving back by helping me today, by having me here, just so you know, if you do end up buying anything, a percentage of all my earnings, all my sales goes back to charity. I'm very big on giving back. Our company is really big on giving back. And my goal is to help build this hospital, and I share about it. I think it's always good to have a give back piece of some sort. You don't have to give 10%. You could say 5%, or you could say, hey, every semester I want to give, $500 at least to charity, to help for a great cause, like something to give back. People get tied into that, by the way, big time. And so all my top guys, I'm like, give back. I'm like, God's bless you with an ability to earn crazy money. Like, give back. Find a way to give back. So I always shared about giving back. I'm like, so anytime people are purchasing Cutco, they can feel good that they're giving to good causes. So whether it's with me or corporately, and you can use corporate gives a percentage of all their sales, they give back. And whether it's to, Go Red, Pink, right? We did with the breast cancer, Pink stuff, whatever. And you could bring up those things. They're always doing fundraisers to give back to the community. So that's something I really love about the company too, is that they're super big on giving back. All right. And I'll tell you at the end, there's like deals that if you trade in some of your old stuff, you could actually get deals and discounts in some of the larger sets. And the company does that because the more we sell, the more we can donate. I always say that. But I'm like, the more we sell, the more we can donate. I'm like, so let me tell you a little about the company. And then I dove in. So that was mine, Jay. All right. I didn't have the 5 million things he has in his. So I was just doing it, pretending to be him. Do you have to have it like Billy's? No. All right. Is his great? Hell yeah. All right. You got to do it how you want to, what you want to share, what you want to tie them into. All right. But I felt really good with what I had. And I did have a vision paper. I lent it to someone. And the vision, it's about me and my goals. Like a vision paper is the first thing. Because what are you first doing? Tell them about you, right? Before you dive in, you always tell them about you. So I'm like, yeah, a little bit about me. This is my family. You look at Andy Janti's book. It's like 10 pages of like my mom and my dog. And my, do you need to do that? No. Is it cool? Yeah. It just, the whole thing is like, it ties them into who you are. So it is really awesome to have pages with pictures. You don't need to have like 3-4 pages. I just had a collage in the front of about me, and the next page was a collage of my goals. Cool, like dream this, dream that, like a little mini vision board. That was it, all right? And then it was scholarship, whatever sales goals I was working on. I told them I have demo goals, I have sales goals. Keep a lookout because those are based on sales, but if not, regardless, you help me out, get one step closer by doing another appointment, and this is actually a free way you can help me out. I'll tell you about that later. And just so you know, anything that you do end up purchasing, you can trade in stuff, you can get deals, yada, yada, and company's huge on giving back. They give a percentage corporately of sales, divisionally we give, and you guys can say that because I do give. 10% of all of our stuff goes back to Front Row Foundation, to Haiti, and to church. Everything that comes into this organization, 10% goes back out. Cool? So you can say, hey, as a division, our leaders, 10% that comes into the organization goes right back out to support great causes. And so these are causes that, the work that we're doing is helping support. So you can just leave it there if you're not going to personally, you can still talk about giving back. Cool? And then you're like, yeah, so that's a really cool thing I love about the company. So you've never heard of Cutco? Oh my gosh. I'm like, this was amazing. And I dive in like that. If they've heard of Cutco, I'm like, so how did you hear of Cutco again? I'm like, well, let's give you a little knowledge just in case that last person left out, some important things. I'm like, well, you've never seen it with me. I'm like, just wait, all right? And have fun. And have fun, have fun, have fun. I say that all the time. Get out of your head, stay in your heart, and work your ass off. You got to have fun. If you're overthinking, if you're overanalyzing, you're ruining the process, okay? And by the way, Billy last week, I could see that he was thinking about what he was saying next. and because he's very analytical and he's a great thinker. And by the way, that is a gift that he has, that he like thinks, you're like that too, Gray, and you think a lot and you overanalyze, and that's a very positive thing for a lot of things. But if here you're in your head too much, they can feel disconnected from you, and it doesn't allow you to fully maximize your business. I explained to Billy, if you're fucking great, logically, you'll sell about 70% of the time, but you're still losing another 20 to 25% that they buy from an emotional buy. People buy a lot of things emotionally. Logically, it makes sense to buy Cutco. Like logically, look at it on paper, look at the features. You buy it once, you have it every day, you have it forever. You're gonna buy knives later, you wanna buy Cutco later, that's cool. You're gonna have it forever. It's cheaper now, and if you get it now, you're still gonna have it forever. Logically, it makes sense. Why do people, that extra percentage when beyond the logic is an emotional buy, okay? And so it's, are they connected to why now versus later? Why more now, versus just this? Why this? That's the emotional side of it. So you got to get out of your head. And so I could see Billy like trying to do everything perfect. Like, let me make sure I say this. I could feel it last week when he was doing it for me. And I'm like, stop thinking, just share. Put the pages of what you want to talk about. So when you get to that page, you light up and you talk about that page. Cool? Don't be in your head thinking, what's the next thing I'm supposed to say? If you guys do that, you're going to see a lot more success when it comes to sharing your goals. Cool? Any last questions or comments?
Okay, so this is like a rare occurrence, and like it's never happened before. But one time I was sharing my goals, and I was talking about like theater and stuff. I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to go visit New York. And this lady was from New York, and she was like, no, you don't want to do that. And I was just like, no,
so what's your
I
question?
do.
What's your
question? I just like, how would you like? I don't know.
By the way, that has nothing to do with you.
Very rarely happens.
It has nothing to do with you. She's just like, she had a bad experience, or she's like a negative Nancy. Okay. That's it. So I just say, I'd be like, honestly, me, if I was in that demo, I would be like, don't put a damper on my goals. I was like, that's what I want to do. But some people are just like, they're very realistic, and that's fine. Just know that like someone did that to them, or like ruined their stuff, or they had a bad experience. Like, you don't need to take other people's stuff. How many times do people tell you, don't do this, that's dumb, because they had a bad experience? If I would have listened to everyone tell me not to do this job, holy shit, my life would be a different way. That was 16 years ago, all right? I'm very glad I didn't listen to any of them tell me get a real job. What the hell am I doing? This is so dumb. This is such a waste of time. By the way, those same people now, oh my God, you're so amazing. I'm so proud of you. Doing all these things, like impacting,
Can I borrow some money?
Yeah, can I borrow money? All right, all the time. Other comments or questions? Takeaways. I'd love to hear what you guys took from this, how this is helpful to you. All right, think about right now, what's the number one thing you're going to implement leaving this right now? We need to set up your goal pages and stuff, but what's the number one thing you're going to implement?
No negative words. Like when I speak about helping my family back in Trinidad, I always go deep in depth of like when I went to the orphanage in Tobago, the kid was so homeless. His shoes were like water bottles. And like, I think about, I can say that in a much different way to where it doesn't like holy shit, this fucked up. Like,
yeah,
it's more of like this guy really wants to help his family in Trinidad.
Yeah, and when I think about that, with giving back, we can still give a little bit, but I'd be like, when I went, I realized how blessed I am. People have so little, but yet they're so happy, which is also crazy because we have so much and we're so miserable, But I just, when I was there, I was like, man, I want to do whatever I can to be able to help others that might not have as much as I have, that might not be as blessed as I am. And people are like, wow, that's great, but it still keeps them positive. So awesome. I'll just like. I'm going to go back this way and go around real quick. So biggest takeaway.
For me, the biggest takeaway was the way you
skipped you.
You didn't raise his hand.
I'm good everywhere.
Well, anyway, my biggest takeaway was when you were explaining the scholarship and contest. I never explained it as this is the freeway with the demos and then the scholarship. Those are all based off sales. So if you do keep an eye out, it's just that little seed plant makes a huge difference.
And that's so big. In the beginning, I felt a lot of customers were like, oh, well, I did it just to help you out. Or I had customers like, well, I'm not going to get anything. And I was like afraid to ask for an order, or like, I was like, oh, or at the end, they're like, well, I just did it to help you. And I took that as an excuse. And my manager was like, Kat, just pre-frame in the beginning. Say, hey, thank you so much for helping me. Like I said before, you don't have to get anything. But these contests here are based on sale. So if you do need anything, and what am I bringing up? Things that they're going to buy gifts for. Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's, any weddings, anything coming up in the next 6 to 12 months, keep a lookout. Because not only are you getting a great product, I'm going to make sure you get a great deal, and it helps me out a ton for my contest. Cool? But if not, no big deal. I get paid just to do it. And this is actually a free way to help me. So you can definitely help me with that later. So thank you so much, and I'll have you sign my paper at the end. And then I keep going. And right, that's a separate workshop, which I taught you guys on how to actually use those at the end to maximize your recommendations. And if you've never seen that, it's recorded. So we can show you that from my YouTube page. All right. So go.
Biggest takeaway was how you made the questions flow whenever you try and ask about them. And then transitioning into your own goals, how you said, did Kathy tell you anything about me and what I'm doing?
Yep.
That transition.
It's an easy transition. Yep. And by the way, even when you're chatting, when you're talking a lot about, that's an easy way to start your demo. Sometimes you're like building rapport, chatting with them, and you're like, I don't know when to like make them shut up. The next question you could ask them is, so did she tell you anything about like what I'm doing, like about me, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it? Like, oh no. I'm like, oh, do you mind if I share a couple of things real quick so you know who the heck you're helping out? And it's like, yeah, of course. It was an easy transition, an easy flow into that. All right, go. Biggest takeaway or.
Okay, that was actually one of my biggest. But also, the why am I doing this? Like, why am I selling times? Like, how is it going to help with my long-term goals? Communication skills, the experience, personal growth, like you mentioned, scholarships, stuff like that. So yeah, that's all. Like, I've had a couple people ask me, like, what are you getting out of this? Like, what? Like, so yeah, you're doing this now, but what about later? So,
exactly. And by the way, this was really big for me when I was younger, but I remember one of my girls, Allie, she actually just graduated from Wisconsin Marquette University. She was a pre-dent major, and now she's in like dentistry school or, you know, whatever it's called. But when she was, dental school, there you go. So when she was studying, by the way, when she was a college freshman, or she had just graduated high school, going to be a freshman at Marquette, her family was like, why are you selling knives? You should be shadowing a dentist. And I said, what's your dream job? And she said, I want to have my own dental practice. I was like, cool. So here's what you're going to say. And I showed her how to share her goals. And this is what she did. And I taught her how to do this. I said, you're going to go. So talk about how you heard about it. And like my friend Mary Lou had recommended me. And then you just share, be like, yeah. So at first, like a lot of friends and family were like, why are you selling knives? You're studying to be a dentist. And what I've shared with people, my goal is to actually have my own practice. And this company shows me how to run a business. And a lot of people graduate from dental school and they know how to be a dentist, but they don't know how to run a business. So instead of me paying for another degree in business or business management or entrepreneurship, I'm actually getting paid to learn those things with this business. I can do an internship where I can actually run my own business for the summer. And then later when I finish dental school, I know how to start up my own practice because I learned that here. So that's what I'm really stoked about gaining from Cutco is I'm going to deal with patients, all different personalities, all different types. So I'm getting experience with that. I need to build rapport and have them like me so they recommend me, because in my practice, a lot of it's word of mouth. I want them to be like, my dentist is the best dentist of all time. You should use them, And so I want to have my loyal patients and I want them sharing it. And again, I want to make sure I know how to run the business. So I'm super stoked about learning that with this company because that's what they really focus on, is giving us those soft skills we can use for anything we do. Now her customers were like, what? That's awesome. That's so great. And they were so excited to help her on her journey to have her dental practice. Does that make sense? And so now they saw how the selling knives tied into her having a dental practice. You guys all see that? All right. So tell me your name again. Lance. Okay. Biggest takeaway.
For me, it was the fact that you said you donated 10%, like based on the division.
Everything that comes into the division, 10% is given away.
Yeah, it's like all two different charities you said. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we give to our church that does a lot of missions because they're very big on missions and helping. Like when Hurricane Relief, they were like one of the first people mobilizing efforts, and with a bunch of different churches. And like Tony Robbins actually gave a shout out to my pastor. Like we have like, huh? Yeah, Tony donated to my pastor in the church, and he actually recorded a video giving a shout out to Pastor Jeremy for like everything they were doing. So yeah, Hope City does a lot to give back with.
Hope City? Why have you never said anything?
She just did.
Oh my God. Okay. Hey.
Yeah. So our
whatever. Continue.
Yeah, it's a pretty great church. So.
You're the youth leader at the church, right?
No.
That's what you join customs.
Sure. So anyway, so when you're giving, giving back, so we give to Angel Wings International. We give to Front Row Foundation monthly. We give to Hope City and all the missions there. And then we have a pocket that's for like disaster relief or a family in need or, you know, just like a random thing. But money goes to those things, just so you guys know, and you can always share that with customers. All right. Biggest takeaway.
Okay, so you've said it before, but like it just really clicked this time. It's stay out of your head, stay in your heart. So like, because I'm like Billy. I'm always thinking about what I'm going to say next and not really speaking out of my heart. So I need to start doing that more instead of thinking, what am I going to say next? Because whenever I say that, I forget what I'm going to say, and
you're not fully present because you're having a whole other conversation with yourself. You know? And by the way, that's the beauty of setting up your pages how you want them and what you want to talk about, because then you don't have to think. All you have to do is look at the damn page and you know what you're talking about, and you can just share from your heart. And when you flip, you know what you're going to talk about because it's all right there. And so that's why I love setting up your goals in the beginning so that you don't have to think. All you have to do is look and then just share. And so you're only putting in your goals what you care about. And when you see the picture or the name, you're like, oh, and you're like, this, I helped them raise $1,000 in a bake sale. And it's like, it's very authentic and real what you're talking about as you go through that process, you know, versus like, what do I say next? You know, like, am I hitting a lot of points? Like, just flip your damn page. That's how you're hitting your points. And that's why I said tonight, bring your page objectives, bring your stuff so we can help you organize your book or do goals pages. And I know we took a lot longer than I had planned. So we can still look at some stuff and then, you know, come tomorrow at 5 p.m. To the office, and you guys can finish setting up. Billy can help you guys with that before the phone jam starts. We'll have that for the 5 o'clock workshop. Cool. Make sure you're set up for success this week. And then Saturday morning, you guys can practice. Come to Saturday morning, Breakfast of Champs, and you guys can practice sharing your goals for 30 minutes with each other. It's really powerful to do that. It sounds silly, like practice sharing your goals. It's freaking powerful when you can do that really well. All right, biggest takeaway.
So I have two. The first one was connecting your goals back to people. And so like I was just saying, oh, I'm doing this because I want money. I want to work hard. So it's just kind of random goals. So I want to try to work on connecting it back to what I'm actually doing.
And think about the skills you need. Like, you know, she mentioned, you know, Tora was mentioning that, like, what are the skills you need to be amazing at whatever you're going to do in the future, right? I didn't know exactly what I was going to do in the future, but I knew I wanted to, like, run companies. I knew I wanted to impact people. And so that's what I talked about, because I wasn't like, I want to be a dentist and open my resume. Like, that was Alec. I didn't have it that defined. I just knew that I wanted to impact. I wanted to influence. And so I told them that. When I talked to Allie last week or 2 weeks ago, I talked about, hey, share with them that, like, my goal is to, like, totally revolutionize education. I want to be in the superintendents and do this. And I'm starting by, right now, I'm working with what's the program? Ready, Set, Teach, and I'm teaching secondary, and I realized I definitely want to teach high school students, and then I want to become a teacher, and then I want to work here, and I want to do that, and so it's really cool because this is helping me, and just, I showed her, and it's recorded. You can watch the one I did with Allie, because I showed her how to tie in the stuff she's working for, so you can go back and watch that on YouTube as well. And what was the other thing?
Having fun, because I feel I'm like the same way as Allie and Billy. I feel like I'm not really trying to connect with the customer more than I should. Look at these small minds, really quick. So,
yeah, and it's very easy to, like, be giving all the facts, you know, and the facts are great, but again, like, the more you connect, the more, that's how you enroll them, where they're like, oh, like, I want to help you with whatever you need, kiddo, you know, like, they're tied into you versus, like, they're listening to facts you're giving them. That there's difference with that, right?
I think my biggest thing was, like, like you doing your demo when you name drop. So in the same way, I mean, I know Billy, you know, scholarship winner. So why don't I say that? Like, oh yeah, so my friend actually won a scholarship, and I'm working towards that. And then you talked about, I don't know if you did it purposely or accidentally, but how you named every single school, and then the last one you named was UT. So they relate to UT because we're in Texas. So it's like, whoa, UT? What? The professor from UT is, you know. And so
by the way, he has been on our board since 1988. I just had a glass of wine with him in October. We were on a boat in DC, and we were talking about, like, the program and school. Dr. Peterson. All right, maybe a couple glasses. All right. By the way, this is him right here. He's been on our board forever. This is Dr. Peterson back in the day. He's a little older now, but he's there, and he's in your scholarship brochure. He's literally been on our board since 1988. That's longer than many of you in the room have been alive. Okay, so that's pretty cool. All right, you already said yours.
Three.
Anything else you want to share? You already shared.
It was just have fun. like it sounds so like dumb, but it was literally just have fun. Like when I would, like I said, when I would just like kind of pop out facts, it was like serious, and I don't know why. And the thing you said about like, oh, you might have seen a presentation, but you've never seen one done by me. Like just having like that confident, like cocky attitude. I think that adds a lot.
And make it fun. It's not like a
Yeah,
like,
no.
you haven't done it with me. You know, it's like you haven't done it with me yet. You know, and like and it makes them laugh. Like, all right, we're gonna have a good time. They know they're gonna have a good time. So that's cool. All right. Biggest takeaway.
So like tying my goals into like the company and then like my future goals, because like I'll tell them like what I did in the past and then like what I'm doing now and then like what I want to do, but I don't ever like put them
How
all
is this
together.
helping
Yeah.
you? This is a stepping stone, guys, right? It's helping you get there. So how is it helping you? What are you learning that's going to help you for your future? That's what you want to show them, how this is a stepping stone for your future. Cool.
I had like a picture with like all my goals on it, like I did a whole bunch of different pictures, and I didn't realize how important it is to have like a vision board in your Google. So I had it like on my computer. I didn't get to print it out or anything like that. And I didn't have everything that I want to talk about. So it was hard for me to like remember and say the right words.
And so, you get in your head all the time.
Yeah, and so it's just like how easy it would be to have it right in order so you can talk about everything you want to talk about and get your point across and tying it in.
And you know you're never going to forget anything because it's all there. You know, and so you can just like chat. And by the way, when you guys see a picture of something you love, doesn't it naturally bring you to life?
Yeah.
Like if there's like a badass car you love and you see it, you're like, oh, you know, like you like naturally get excited. Or I see my dream house, I'm like, oh, I want a house like that. You know, like you naturally get excited when you see things that you love. So having images. So by the way, you don't have to have it. Does everyone have a vision board there? No. It's a pro tip. It's an extra thing, but it's very authentic when you're sharing why your goals, because it's like stuff that you love. You're like, yeah, and I'm really excited about this, and I want to have a gorgeous house like you guys one day. And so I'm working really hard to set myself apart so I can land any job that I want, you know, or be the top in blah 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 field, or you know whatever it is that you want. So those things are very specific. Jay.
Cool. Well, I do like the every word matters, like no negative words thing. And then I think the biggest thing, because I have a bad habit of demos taking 3, 4, 5 hours. Because I get.
By the way, my demos were 40 minutes. Like I scheduled my demos an hour and 15 minutes apart, and like I had great results. You're like, oh, you're rushed. I'm like, sometimes they stayed longer because they were cool and I wanted to, and we cooked and hung out, but like very rare. Especially Saturdays, I did 4 to 6 demos in a day, so I was going.
But how did
How
did you get so many recs? Like that's the longest.
Because I built rapport. My demo took 15, 20 minutes, and then at the end, I spent another 15, 20 minutes on recs. Like that's where I spent the most time was on recommendations. So if they were writing a crap ton, it took longer, just depending on how long the demo took. But my demo was 40 to 60 minutes. 60 minutes was top because like they were buying a bunch of stuff and that took forever. And then, you know, recs pretty quick.
Yeah,
I have different ones, but those are like here, mock videos. Yeah. Last ones. Back row. Bring it home.
So when I was doing rap, I would pretty much let the people talk about themselves. Everybody let me focus on me because I felt, you know, people like talking about themselves.
Absolutely.
Talk about yourself.
And by the way, you want to do that. Let them talk about them, but then you transition to like, so did she tell you why I'm doing this?
So that's what I need to do. So I need to go and focus on my goals. My goal is brief. Really brief. So I need to go write it down and work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because then they get tied into you and wanting to help you towards those goals. So by the way, one, letting them talk is good because a lot of times people don't get to talk, right? Or they're not asked questions and they're like, oh, you know, especially a mom, if you're talking to a mom, they're like, so how was your day? So tell me about this. And they're like, oh, you know, and like no one like asks them questions or like cook, clean, whatever, kids yelling, bah, you know. So it feels good to be listened to and appreciated. So that's a good thing. So right there, you're opening up something very good. And then by sharing what you're doing, they're more tenants like, man, I want to help you. Like, one, you let me talk and ask me questions that make me feel good. And like, wow, what you're doing is awesome. You know, and they want to be a part of that journey. So that's really good.
Like, that real quick?
Yeah, quick.
So right when she walked in the door earlier, I go, hey, Kat, how was your day? And immediately she just goes, how was my day? And she just lit up. So, like, people like to actually be like, listen to me. I thought that was cool.
Well, thanks.
Just feeling the biggest takeaway from me was just to smile and just relax. And actually enjoy doing the demo. Just feel like you're just doing it as a job. And that's my kind of my thing. So it's like it's a lot, like I get more serious about it instead of like relaxing and actually like taking a step back and actually saying how it actually without them or with girls on.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Awesome. Great.
My biggest takeaway was sharing. When I'm sharing my goals, tying them together and relating it back to everything rather than just rounding off facts. So makes it come together a lot better. And then also, like you said, how it's 70% logical and then 20% emotional, and that actually 20% just gave that emotional connection there.
And by the way, that's how I feel. Like when I've seen people that are like very like good with facts and logic, their closing percentages are typically around 70%. And my guys who have 90-95% closing ratios, they are so freaking great at like tying customers in emotionally. You watch Francisco, he knows how to do it. Who do you learn that from? Andy Janti. We learned that early on. Like if you can totally have them eating out, they're like, wow, like I want to adopt you. I want you to marry my daughter. I want, like they like want you to like, then it's going to be it's going to be a sale. Like 90-95% of the time, like they're going to buy something, and the more you tie them into the big goals and plant seeds for bigger sales, and that's a whole other conversation. You can really, get some great orders now versus later. So cool. So awesome, guys.